welcome to J&B Live, guys. Come on in. Come on in and join us. We'll get ready to start in about 3 minutes. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you. Come on in and join us. Chime on in. We look forward to hearing from you guys today. This is Dr. B with J&B Live. For those of you who have just joined us, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your support. Chime on in and stop by and say hello and hear what we have to say. Let's talk about it. We got a special topic for you guys today, so we want to hear from you and we're going to talk about it. Thank you so much. Thank you
Yeah.
for joining us. NBA Young Boy, thank you for joining us. We have, is that Aisis Samuel? Help me pronounce that name. Maria, Amaya, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your support. Uh, Jerome, Jama, Jerome, thank you for joining us. We appreciate Brown Man Sharp. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Much love to you guys.
Welcome everybody.
Welcome, welcome.
This is Broker J3 again. As Doc B said, we appreciate you guys supporting JB Live Podcast. Remember, you guys, remember to tap the screen, show us love, send a gift. Remember to subscribe and share if you haven't already. We This is very interactive, so we look forward to you guys sharing your thoughts as we talk to you guys. Definitely comment and so that we can see what you guys are saying, so we can add that in as we're talking on our discussion. Today, our title is very touching,
Yes,
but it has a lot of meaning. Today's topic is when to cut ties,
yes.
toxic family relationships, and tough choices. I think we've all experienced that before. Again, welcome back to JMB Live Podcast. We're here where we keep it real, raw, and relatable. Um, Today, again, like I said, we're going to be talking about a heavy but necessary topic. Is knowing when to cut ties with toxic family members and or friends. That's
Okay.
right, folks. Sometimes even family can be the source of your pain, and it's okay to talk about it. This one is deep. Family is supposed to be the foundation and a safe place, a safe space, rather. But what happens is sometimes they're the main ones that hurt you more than help. Dr. B, I know that you've got wisdom to drop on this.
Yes, I do. First of all, thank you guys for joining in. Teresa Gonzalez, Big Boy, thank you guys for joining in today. But this is, yes, a topic that actually hits home. And here's the thing when it comes to family, it is a touchy subject, it can be emotional. People get stuck in harmful situations. Sometimes they don't know how to exit. But we're going to give you permission today to choose yourself, sometime over family members, because oftentimes we always put ourselves last. We want you to choose your peace. We also want you to choose your mental health. So we're going to jump right in on this topic. And then first, what exactly makes a family relationship topic? Broker J3.
Okay, well, that would come in as trying to define, toxic family relationships. So when you hear the word toxic, they
Mm,
often think of screaming matches and outright abuse, but toxicity can be much more subtle, right?
yes, it can be. Exactly. Toxic relationships can look like it's just you're constantly being criticized by family members, and it can be guilt tripping. It can cause you to dismiss your feelings where you don't feel like you don't matter, and you become emotionally unavailable. It's not always loud talking or screaming. It can be quiet, sometimes in a way that make you feel very small or belittle you.
How about the family members who never take accountability? The ones who will always make you the problem, no matter what's going on. It's always your fault, regardless whether they caused it or not.
Yeah, yeah, and that can happen a lot. So you have to be careful of those family members who pretty much kind of like trap you in a situation where you think you're always at fault. And then also you want to consider the different culture, like for instance in black and brown communities, we're always taught to put family first. Family is above everything. That phrase, blood is thicker than water. We hear that all the time. So you have to be careful about that because you'll lose yourself sometime in family.
Yes, but sometimes that blood is what's drowning you, you know. So let's talk about the red flags and
Yes.
let you know it's time to reevaluate these relationships. You know, we have to think about this because we mentioned before to you guys, you know, that
Mhm.
um, mental health is serious. A lot of these issues, especially what we're talking about today, they can cause a lot of mental issues. You know, can is it's also a source of bullying. You know, if you look at it, so you have to start paying attention to these things. So right now, we're going to try to pay attention to some of the red flags and when to set those boundaries.
Okay, so let's break it down. Here are some red flags. When you talk to people, you feel drained, you feel anxious, and even depressed after every interaction you have with that person. And it should be an alert that goes off. Why do I feel like this every time I have a conversation with this person, or every other time I have a conversation with this person? Your boundaries are being ignored, overstepped, and sometimes mocked. So you feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells around that person or persons to avoid any conflict.
Yeah, and it really shouldn't have to be like that. You should never feel like you're drained in a conversation. You shouldn't have any anxiety or
Yes.
feeling depressed yeah, after you have an interaction with somebody. And never allow your boundaries to be overstepped or mocked, as Dr. B said. These are very important. How about when they only show up when they need something? You know, I think we've all experienced that before, family or friends, when you know they only call you when they need something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they never call you and says, hey, I wanted to check on you, see how you're doing.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, how's your day? You know, I haven't spoke to you since last week or last month. Just want to know how you're doing. You know, or it's always that, hey, I just wanted to know if you can, you know, help me with a few dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Can you take me to go pick up this, or my car broke down, can you do this for me? It's like they always call you only when they need something.
Mm-hmm.
They don't call you to check on you. They only call you when they need something. You know, and it's always what can you do for me type
Mm-hmm.
family member.
Yes.
I think we all have those type family members. It's always what have you done for me lately, or
Yes.
what can you do for me? And I know a lot of you guys out there can definitely relate to what we're talking about right now. I'm sure some of you have those family members that only call when they want something,
Mm-hmm.
or they feel like, what can you do for me? And if you guys have those kind of people, you know, chime in, you know, tap the screen to let us know that you hear us talking,
Yes.
or
Yes. Please do.
put it in the comments so that we know that you guys understand or can relate to what we're saying.
Yes. JJ Murphy, thank you for joining us. Sybil, thank you for joining us. Yes. So those family members sometimes call, and as Broker J3 just said, they want to borrow money, and they'll call. You'll only hear from them when they need something. But when you're broke and you don't have any money, can you call on them and ask them for some money? That's what you have to ask yourself. So that happens a lot. So you have to be careful of that type of relationship as well. And then you also have family members who weaponize gifts. Statements like, after all I done did for you, or after all I done done for you, this is how you repay me, or this is how you treat me. That's that little guilt trip that they use on it. It is a classic manipulation that can be toxic.
Yeah, you guys have to be careful of that, because whenever you do something and it's supposed to be from the heart, you never want to bring it back up. Hey, you remember when I did this? You
Yeah.
remember when I did that? Because I'm quite sure, you know, especially I know me and Doc been in situations before where, you know, we had may have helped someone before, and regardless what the situation is, whether we was ever in need and they didn't do it, there's no need to throw it back up in anybody's face and say, hey, you remember when I did this for
Mhm.
you, so you can't do it for me? No, you don't bring that back up. You don't try to manipulate them. What you do is you learn from that and say, okay, well, next time I know how to deal with this person,
Hmm.
but there's no need to tell someone about what you did for them or not, because if you start bringing it up, that means you really didn't do it from the heart.
Yeah.
So what can people do when they spot these red flags? Boundaries are the first step, right?
Yes, yes, yes. So you want to make sure you set those boundaries. This is crucial. Some of the things that you can say is, I'm not comfortable discussing this topic with you. Or you could just flat out say, I can't help you with that right now. That's okay if you say that. Boundaries are about protecting your peace, not punishing others. So this is back to what we discussed earlier, putting yourself first.
Yeah, but let's be real. Some people don't respect boundaries, no matter how clear you make it to them. It's a lot of people out there. They don't respect you the same way you
Yeah.
may respect them.
Hmm.
And sometimes, like Doc B said, sometimes you have to outright just tell them, "Hey, I can't do this right now," or "No." You don't always have to be that yes person to feel like there's going to be some consequences if you tell somebody no.
Yeah. And so you have to consider, is this relationship worth the emotional toll on you? And if it's not, it might be time to step away or sever that relationship.
And never feel bad if you have to step away from a particular person, family member, or friend. They're gonna always be your family. Sometimes you can't break that blood tie,
That's right.
but you can break that relationship of the manipulation, overstepping the boundaries. You can break that because your mental health is more important than anything else. And always remember that, because a lot of times you're gonna find those people out there that don't care about you.
Hmm.
It don't matter if they're related to you. They're there to use you, and that's all they're gonna do. Most of them don't change. If they've been that way since a youth up until an adult, they're not gonna change, and
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. Now, when boundaries aren't enough, you have to learn to
Yeah.
cut these ties. Let's talk about the big decision that you guys are gonna have to make, and that's cutting ties. That's not something you do lightly. That's something that you're really gonna have to think about, because a lot of times you feel like, well, I've been dealing with this family member all my life, and it's
Yes.
just gonna feel weird if I just stop talking to him. Look, sometimes that break from those family members
Yes.
is what's gonna actually help them to realize you're setting a boundary and you're sticking to it. And if they can't stick to it, they're gonna have to learn that, hey, this person cut me off. This person is not talking to me like they used to, because apparently something is going on. And ain't nothing wrong with that, guys. You got to remember, your mental
Your
health is
peace.
more important. You deserve your peace.
Yes. So this may be one of the hardest decisions that you'll ever make, because it goes against everything that you've been taught about family loyalty. We've always been taught to be for family, be there when family needs you. But sometimes this is the only way to protect yourself. And just like Brother Broker J just said, it's about protecting your mental health and peace.
Exactly. What do you think are the key factors to consider when deciding to cut ties?
Okay, so first you want to ask yourself, have you tried setting those boundaries? And were those boundaries ignored? Is the relationship causing you more harm than good? And are you constantly sacrificing your well being to keep the peace?
And those are some real questions, guys. We're gonna go over that again. First of all, ask yourself again, like Doc B said, have you tried setting boundaries? Because if you are not used to setting these boundaries, these people are going to be used to overstepping them regardless. So you have to learn. Okay, how can I set a boundary? What can I do to set this boundary? First of all, you have to let them know. Hey, it's a simple example. Say you got family members call you all through the night, even though you got to work early in the morning. They're
Yes.
always calling you to ask you something that they can wait till tomorrow. What you do is you block them. You block them, or you put do not disturb on, so they'll realize, hey, they're not answering my calls anymore. They're talk to them in the morning. Don't answer their call.
Hmm.
And I know I'm just giving you a simple example, but use these examples for bigger things as well. Sometimes you have to start to set that example so that they know that there's a difference.
Yeah.
Okay. And also ask yourself again, what is the relationship causing you more harm than good? It doesn't matter if you're in a relationship with a family member, a significant other, or a friend.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yes.
if you realize that this
Mm-hmm.
relationship that you are in is causing you more harm, it's causing you some mental issues, it's causing you pain. It's not worth being in.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep saying it until it's drilled in you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Mental health is very important,
Yes,
and
it
things like
is.
this can cause you anxiety, depression, stress, and Doc B will tell you, stress is a killer. It doesn't matter how old you
Yes,
are.
that is true.
Stress
Will kill
is
you.
a killer.
Yeah, yeah. As a matter of fact, stress, not to get off the topic, but stress contributes to a lot of diseases. One of those is heart disease. So you definitely want to monitor your stress. So, as Broker J3 just said, your peace, your mental health is what's important.
Yeah, and if you are constantly sacrificing your well being to keep the peace and you answer yes to that, then it's time to think about walking away.
Yeah.
But let's be clear, this isn't about hatred or
Mm-hmm.
bitterness. This is we're not talking about hating anybody or being bitter towards anybody. We're talking about protecting your peace and your mental health.
Yeah. And just think about it. It's about self preservation as well. You can love someone from a distance and still choose to not to have them in your life. There are a lot of people who don't go to family functions. They talk to family members, but they don't attend those functions because they want to maintain that distance. And you can love someone from a distance, and that's okay if you choose to do that as well.
Exactly. So let's talk about the emotional side of this. There are a lot of guilt and grief that comes from cutting these
Yes.
ties, right?
Yes. Yes. There's a lot of grief. Even the relationship was toxic, it's still a loss, especially when it comes to family members, someone that you hold dearly. You're grieving not just a person, but also the idea of what you wish the relationship could have been. In other words, some people long for those dearing relationships with mothers. There are people who don't even daughters who don't get along with their mothers. There's sons don't get along with their fathers, so they don't have that relationship, and they long for that type of relationship. So that could be a mental health issue as well, and you are wishing for a relationship that may never be.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so what we're gonna do right now, we're asking our listeners out there, to share some of your experiences with
Yes.
toxic family members, and let us know. Here's one. I had to go no contact with my mother after years of emotional manipulation. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but I've never felt so free. Now, this is not my personal case. This is something that one of our listeners had said to us. So, and we understand now, loving your mom for years and having to deal with not being able to talk to her, after years of
Hmm.
emotional manipulation. Now, remember, now when we say family members,
Yes, it
this can
does.
be this can
Be
be your
anyone.
mother, your father, your sister, your
Yeah.
brother, your uncle, or aunt, and yes, for that particular listener, it was the hardest thing that they had to do, but they had to protect their peace.
Yes. Yes.
you know
Yes.
and
Yes.
and and this manipulation can last for years.
Yes. Yes.
Doc
It
B will
can.
tell you, it's not something that they do every now and then. A lot of these things go on for years before people start setting boundaries and cutting ties. And if you guys out there, and again, this is always going to be an interactive podcast. We encourage you guys to comment and let us know, whether you guys are listening live with us, or if you guys decide to catch the podcast at another time, be it the audio podcast or the video podcast. Definitely comment and let us know. We definitely love to hear about that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. So the scenario that you just gave can be so real, and it shows that sometimes freedom is on the other side of a tough decision. You would think that what person could not get along with their mother, with his or her mother, but actually that could happen. And like I say, this is if you are having this issue and you don't know how to solve the problem, you can also consult a therapist who would be able to guide you through that process, especially if it's a mental health issue. Now, one tip that was mentioned about a chosen family and friends, and choose friends and mentors who uplift you and provide the support your family could not provide for you. So even though you don't have that close relationship with that family member, then you may have a mentor or a friend outside of that relationship that can also provide that same support.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And it's important, as Doc B said, find that chosen family member, that friend or mentor that uplifts you. We all have that person or people. It doesn't matter whether it's your pastor, your church, or your mom, dad, sister, aunt, or that close friend of yours that always uplifts you.
Mhm.
No matter what's going on, find that person. To allow them to be able to support you to get past that difficult time.
Okay. Yeah. And so we want to extend that. So how do you think that they can process those feelings of guilt and grief? The persons that are experiencing that don't have that relationship with their family members or not, they could seek some type of therapy.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. And that therapy again can come from, be a pastor, a church member, a close friend, a close family member that you may be
Yes,
close
yes,
with that's not manipulating you or using you.
yes,
Draw close to those people because, I get it sometimes, you can't always afford therapy. You can't, or have the time to be able to find a therapist, but we do make time for, going to church, hey, pastor, I got something I want to talk to you about, something that's been on my mind, or call that friend and like, hey, man, I've been going through something and I just need to talk to somebody. That those are the things that you can do to help you to be able to process some of those things because
yes,
I'm
that's true.
telling you, cutting these ties with these people, it can become an emotional situation,
Yes.
especially if you've been dealing with these people for quite a long time and you have to cut them off.
Yeah. So, I hope everyone has enjoyed what we've been discussing so far. But we had a couple of people that just came on. So, Shirley Bugbee, please join in and leave your comments in the comment section. Tyler Walton, please comment. Please, Roger that. Please, well, thank you first for joining us, but please add your comments in the comment section.
Like, thank you, Laz, for joining us. We
Yes,
appreciate
yes, thank
that.
you. Much love
We
to you.
appreciate all of you guys that join us. Each week that we're live. We
Yes,
we
thank
thank you.
you.
We thank you for all of your support. All right, now before we wrap it up, what we want to do is we want to leave our listeners and our followers and subscribers with this. It's okay to choose yourself. You know, put yourself first. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't matter if you're one of those people that always love to put people first.
Yes.
Remember, put yourself first. God is always going to be first,
Yes, no matter
number
what.
one, no matter what.
Hmm.
But after God, you should always come first. Now, I'm going to say something that may touch a lot of people, but it's just facts. As we say, God is always first. Now, if you're in a marriage or relationship, you still should come first, regardless, before that other person. Because if you continually put that other person before yourself, you're going to start going through some issues that you don't want to deal with. You always have to put yourself first. Love yourself first. Remember that. You can't love someone else when you don't love yourself first.
Yes,
All
yes,
right. And it's okay to prioritize your peace, even if it means stepping away from a family member
yes,
or a friend.
yes, yes. And remember also, cutting ties doesn't mean that you're heartless, you don't have a heart, or that you're ungrateful, because we're grateful for what we have and for what God has blessed us with. It just means that you're brave enough to break that cycle, that cycle that you've been going through for years, and protect your well-being.
And if you are struggling with this, we want to hear from you.
Yes.
Share your story with us
Please hear
or
it.
reach out if you need support.
Mm-hmm.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that's going through
Yeah.
this. Again, most of our stories are coming from our subscribers
Yes.
and our followers. They want to hear these stories. They want to know that other people are going through the same thing that they're going through as well. So we encourage you guys to share your stories when we're talking about the subjects and topics that touch you guys. Share your stories so some of our other subscribers and listeners can know
Yes.
that, hey, I'm not going through this alone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not dealing with this issue alone. I'm not dealing with cutting somebody off alone.
Yes.
There's other people out there that's doing it. Share your story for our listeners and our subscribers.
And don't forget, your peace is priceless. So join us next week and we'll dive into another topic. Until then, take care of yourself and remember you are worthy of a life filled with love, peace, and joy.
And again, guys, today's topic, we know it was a little touching for some of you guys,
Yes.
but we care about our subscribers, we care about our followers, and we care about the ones that don't follow us as well.
Mm-hmm.
Your peace is important. So remember, if you have to find when it's time to cut those ties with those toxic family member and or friends. And again, we thank you guys for tuning in to J&B Live Podcast, and we'll definitely see you guys next time. We thank all of you guys that joined us
Yes.
today.
Thank you.
We
Much
appreciate it.
love to you.
Thank you so much for your continued support.
Support.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Y'all have a great night. Bye.
Thank you guys. We really appreciate it.